journal of 2 visits made to some nations of Indians on the west side of the River Ohio. January 8th, 1773. Passed some miles up the river, nothing remarkable happening. Saturday 9th, Mr. William Butler, by an accident having got part of his goods wet, was so retarded in his voyage that we overtook him, though he set out several days before us. In company with his canoes, we passed a place where some rude Indians were, who had behaved insolently to Mr. Butler. Our canoemen, understanding the disposition of Indians for their safety, made themselves near half drunk, and as they passed, the Indians made such a horrid bustle that the Indians were afraid to molest us, as they said afterwards. I thought at first this was only an excuse for excess, but was afterwards convinced that Indians are extremely afraid of any person intoxicated, for they look on such as mad, and among themselves in such a condition are always for killing. Encamped this night near the crossings of this river, and slept safely, though not without fear. 10th of January, being the Lord's Day, but as none is kept here, moved up as far as a place called Kuskinkis. It is common here to disload some part of the canoes, and from hence carry the goods on horses to the towns. The land here is level and good, and it is said that the place takes its name from an old Indian of the same name, who used to winter here. This river comes much nearer to some of the towns, but as it is very crooked, it makes the distance so great it is judged expedient to disload part here. Near us were encamped some Indians, which were going to Pickawicke, an Indian town near to Deer Creek. Monday 11th, Mr. Butler and Mr. Naylor concluded from hence to take part of their goods by land, on horses brought from the towns for that purpose. Being very desirous of leaving the canoe, as the season was now cold, requested Mr. Butler and Mr. Kelly to intercede for me to obtain a horse from the Indian that was going to Pickawicke. I have reason to esteem these gentlemen for their assistance on this occasion, for with fair speeches and good treatment, a horse was granted to me. But it is probable a large reward was viewed by the Indian, for they are very mercenary. Set out about 11 o'clock, and came that night to Paint Creek, which is esteemed about 14 miles. The last part of the road is near due north. The Indian name of this creek is Alamonithipika, the English of which is Paint Creek. This creek takes its name from some kind of paint that is found in or about it. It comes from the west and empties into Scioto, near where we encamped. The water is clear and beautiful, demonstrating that it originates from good springs. On some branches of this creek are situated some chief towns of the Shawnees, to be described hereafter. Tuesday 12th, having taken breakfast with Mr. Butler and Mr. Naylor, set out for Pickawicke in company with my Indian friend, whose name is Cutaway, his wife and some others. It may be well thought that my journey was solitary, for 3 words of the Shawnee language were not known by me, and as little English by my fellow traveller, so that we could converse none by the way. The day being cold induced us to ride fast, so that about 2 o'clock we came to the town. About 1 mile from the town my Indian friend cast off, and hid part of his load, and leaving the women behind, made signs for me to ride on with him. Perhaps the reason of his conduct was lest we should be molested by drunken Indians. For when they are intoxicated, their abuses are not confined to white people, but they will even rob Indians. Drawing near the town, many thoughts arose about the event, for to me it was not known that there was one white man in town. but all anxiety was removed by freeing Mr. Joseph Nicholas, a former acquaintance, when at Fort Pitt. With kindness he received and entertained me with such refreshments as the situation afforded. While we were refreshing ourselves, Mr. John Irwin came in and invited me home with him. Mr. Irwin's chief habitation is a small town, situated west-northwest of Pickawicke, about 3 miles. By the English, it is called Blue Jackets Town, an Indian of that name residing there. Before this is described, it is proper to take notice of Pickawicke. It is situated south of a brook that east of the town empties into Deer Creek. It takes its name from a nation of Indians called Picts, some of them being the first settlers. The word signifies the place of the Picts. Now it consists of about 100 souls, being a mixture of Shawnees and other nations, so that it is called a Shawnee town. It is the most remarkable town for robbers and villains, yet it pretends to have its chief men, who are indeed very scoundrels guilty of theft and robbery without any apology or redress. Some of these took 4 or 5 mares from Mr. McMeekin on Ohio, nor was there any prompt of redress. Leaving this, went with Mr. Irwin to his habitation. This town is situated east of Deer Creek and north of a large plain. This creek is clear and beautiful, appearing useful for mills and healthful for the inhabitants. The buildings here are logs, their number about 12. This is a peaceable town, and in it lives Kishchinotisthi, who is called a king, and is one of the head men of this nation. The English of his name is Hardman,